Hello, I am Umbrenero and welcome back to Umbrenero's Life. Today's video is a day and night painting. So this painting is actually based on a real photo I took probably over 10 years ago. I don't know where the photo is currently to include it here as a reference, but it was one that I took when I was on my way home from somewhere. I was driving down a road and beautiful sunset in front of me, no clouds in the sky, and in my rearview mirror was a beautiful, really good look of the moon. So I wanted to do that as my inspiration. So here I have a nice little scene with a sunset, and in the little bit of a rear view mirror I have is a little bit of the night scene of the moon that was behind me. And yes, this was done not as a big, let's just really work on this type piece. It was more of a, I just want to get this expressed and just have it there. And it's not really a realistic painting, it's just more of a abstract version of how this actually looked to me, because it was a really good sunset. The sky was clear and it just had that very picturesque look to it. So I got some of the classic colors for a sunset, so an orange, pink, and purple. Like if you look at a video I did on this channel, I believe it was last year, I did a sunset painting. I kind of referenced those colors for my sunset to make it kind of similar. And then for the night sky, I wanted a darker purple and blues to kind of give that feel. But first things first was getting the sunset kind of painted in. And yes, I painted over where my sun was going to end up because I didn't have a worry about it because of how I was going to go about it. So had the sunset all finished, then it was time to come in and start doing the night sky behind me. And it looked really neat when I pulled over to take the picture because you could just see the gradual darkening of the sky behind me with the brightness in front. It was just different and not something that you see every day, especially where I live. If you have an open field and you can actually see something like that, you want to remember how those things looked. And yes, I could have blended my colors a lot better between my two skies, but I didn't really want to take all of that extra time when I was doing this because I had the image in my mind of what I was doing and I just wanted to get it out. And even though it wasn't perfect, it was very close to what I was wanting to express. So since I had the night sky done in the rear view mirror, I knew I was going to need to come in and actually do the frame around the mirror, and staying in that thin line and not getting my paint lightened by the light purple on top was a slight little challenge, but it worked out pretty well. With that done, I needed to start working on the bottom part of this picture. So I wanted to include the road. I didn't want to include all of the lines and all of that because I felt those little details would actually take away from the sky on its own. So I went very minimal with the bottom third of this painting. And yes, I was going very heavy with the gray here for the road because I did not want it to be very opaque. And I didn't want it to be harsh with it being a pure black. So a dark gray was the best bet here. And the time of year when I took this was when the fields that were along this road were starting to turn brown at the end of the harvest season. So they weren't fully harvested right away and all of that. So I knew just using a brown would keep it light enough and wouldn't take away from the brightness of part of this. Because I did want the bottom part of this painting to be kind of dull, so that way the top did stand out. That was a factor that I was paying attention to here. And for the trees that were along the fields, I figured I'd do those as my only black item because they're so far out in the distance. Trying to do them in green would have been difficult. And yes, I tried to paint left-handed, which was not the smartest move on my part, but it worked for what I was attempting there. But with all of the background elements done, it was time to fill in the sun and the moon of this painting. So I mixed some of the orange with a white paint. So I wasn't using a pure white for the sun or moon. So the sun had an orange mixed into it just to give it that off-white, not pure white color and give it some warmth. And then it was going in and doing the same with the moon, except I used a little bit of the light purple and some of the dark purple to bring in a little bit of the coolness, so that way it wasn't as warm as the sun. In all, I really wish I had the reference photo I wanted to use just to get it a little bit more accurate, but trying to do this from memory was kind of neat. So, thank you for watching, and until next time, I am Umbrenero. Bye!